Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt a silence louder than any scream? They were smiling, saying all the right things. They touched your shoulder, said they cared. But deep down, something didn't sit right. Something in their energy felt off. You couldn't explain it to anyone, but your body knew. Your soul knew. Something was wrong. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, said that most people don't really see you. They only see the parts of themselves they've disowned. Their jealousy, their bitterness, their inner chaos, all projected outward onto you. That means sometimes hate wears the mask of friendship, resentment speaks in soft tones, and envy looks just like admiration. You may not have proof, but you've always had the feeling. This video will help you trust that feeling again. Let's look at the 8 emotional signs that someone close to you may secretly hate you. And sign number 8. It might finally explain why you've been so tired after being around them. Let's begin. Take a deep breath. This time, you're not alone. Sign 1. Their kindness feels like a transaction, not love. They check in on you. They smile when you walk in. They offer help when you're in a tough spot. They do all the right things. But deep down, it doesn't feel right. Their kindness feels conditional. It's like they're keeping score. Like every favor they do is a silent deposit into a hidden emotional bank. One day, you'll owe them, even if they never say it. You start to notice something subtle. If you don't praise them back, they grow distant. If you don't need them anymore, they disappear. This isn't love. This is power disguised as help. Carl Jung called this the persona, the mask we wear in public to seem kind, generous, caring. But behind that mask is often something hidden, a darker feeling that we don't want to admit even to ourselves. When someone's kindness feels cold, like a business deal, you're not crazy for noticing. You're not being ungrateful. You're being emotionally aware. Because real love doesn't keep receipts. It flows without keeping track. If every time they help you, you feel indebted instead of comforted, that's not love. That's silent control. And if their kindness disappears the moment you set a boundary, it was never love in the first place. Sign 2. They turn your pain into their competition. You finally open up. You tell them about the breakup that shattered you, or the job you lost, or the night you cried so hard you forgot how to breathe. You expect comfort, a quiet hand to hold, even just a listening ear. But instead, they change the subject. They start talking about their pain, how they had it worse, how they struggled more. Suddenly, you're invisible in your own story. They don't see your heart. They just see an opening to talk about themselves. And it hurts, not just because they ignored you, but because they made your pain feel small, unworthy, dismissed. Carl Jung explained that some people cannot hold space for others because they are too full of their own unhealed wounds. They carry so much internal chaos that the moment someone else speaks their truth, they panic. They deflect. They make it about them. Because deep down, your vulnerability threatens them. Why? Because it forces them to feel, and they've built their whole life avoiding feeling. They might care about you, but they don't want to feel with you. Because your sadness brings their shadow to the surface. And in Jungian terms, the shadow is the part of ourselves we most try to hide. So when they minimize your struggle, or worse, compete with it, they're not stronger. They're scared. And here's the real heartbreak. They may say, "You're too sensitive." But the truth is, they're too shut down. You're not too emotional. They're too afraid to feel. And every time you share your heart and they treat it like a battlefield, they're showing you the cracks in their emotional maturity. Protect your tenderness. It is not weakness. It is your superpower. Sign 3. They disappear. When you're happy. You finally had a moment, a real win, a breakthrough, a promotion, a new relationship, a personal goal you reached after months of struggle. Your heart was glowing. You wanted to tell someone who would celebrate with you. But they didn't answer your call. They didn't reply to your message. And when they finally did, their words were flat. A simple, nice or cool. No sparkle, no joy, just distance. You waited for the "I'm so proud of you." It never came. People who secretly hate you often go silent when you shine. Why? Because your joy threatens the story they've told themselves. That they're the strong one, the smart one, the lucky one. And when you succeed, they feel like they're shrinking. Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When your joy makes someone uncomfortable, it's not about you. It's about the storm inside them, the feeling of not being enough. So they pull away. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your happiness reminds them of their emptiness. You deserve friends who dance when you rise, not ones who disappear when you glow. Sign 4. They make jokes that leave you bleeding. They say they're just being honest. They say you're too emotional. They say you can't take a joke. But what they're really doing is hiding cruelty behind a smile. They joke about your weight. They mock your dreams. They bring up your mistakes in front of others and laugh like it's harmless. It's not harmless. It's calculated. Carl Jung taught that people often project what they can't accept in themselves onto others. So if someone constantly mocks your softness, your ambition, or your truth, they're showing you the parts of themselves they've rejected. They're not joking. They're revealing. Think about it. Would someone who truly loved you ever laugh at the things that hurt you most? When someone's humor always cuts a little too deep, when their fun always leaves you feeling smaller, you're not being sensitive. You're being disrespected. You can love someone and still walk away from their poison disguised as playfulness. Your heart is not a punchline. Protect it. Sign 5. They celebrate you, but only when you're below them. They're your biggest fan. Until you start rising higher than them. They loved you when you were struggling, when you were broken, lost, or unsure. They felt helpful then, important. But now that you've healed, now that you've found your voice, they pull away. Or worse, they try to pull you down. Carl Jung believed that our egos often need to feel superior in subtle, hidden ways. When someone secretly hates you, they may not scream it. They may not even know it. But they need you to stay beneath them. So they'll give advice that makes you doubt yourself. They'll highlight your mistakes, not your wins. They'll compare you to someone better. They might still call themselves your friend, but their love is rooted in inequality. Pay attention. If someone only loves the version of you that needs saving, they never really loved you. They loved the power they felt standing beside your brokenness. Sign 6. Their presence feels heavy, not safe. You walk into the room and something shifts. Your shoulders tighten. Your smile fades. You become smaller, not because they said anything, but because their energy speaks louder than words ever could. This is your body reacting to unspoken tension. This is your soul saying, "Be careful." Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is exactly what happens when we ignore the silent hostility in someone close to us. We stay in their presence, calling it love, family, friendship, when really, we're walking on broken glass. You don't need a fight to justify leaving. You don't need evidence in a text message or proof from others. If someone's energy consistently drains you, if their presence leaves you anxious or unsure, you have every right to step back. Some hate is loud. Some hate is quiet. But your nervous system always knows. Trust it. Sign 7. They echo you, then reject you. At first, it felt like magic. They liked the same music. They said the same things. They mirrored your words, your habits, your way of seeing the world. It felt like connection. It felt like closeness. But slowly, they start to criticize the very things they once mirrored. The way you dress, the things you believe in, your goals, your personality, your essence. Carl Jung called this projection followed by shadow rejection. They copied you because they admired you. But then, something inside them turned. Maybe they felt jealous. Maybe they realized they could never be you. So instead of honoring the bond, they began to destroy it. They couldn't accept your light anymore because your light reminded them of what they haven't yet found in themselves. People like this will often say you changed. But the truth is, they couldn't stay loyal to what they once tried to become. Sign 8. You're always second-guessing yourself around them. You used to feel confident, but ever since they entered your life, you overthink everything. You wonder if you said too much. You replay conversations in your head. You feel guilty for feeling too much. And the worst part? You don't even know why. This is the most dangerous kind of emotional erosion. Not with punches, not with insults, but with small doubts planted like seeds. Carl Jung said that when we allow people to affect us unconsciously, we begin to live their story instead of our own. Someone who secretly hates you will never say it out loud, but their subtle looks, their pauses, their judgments, they'll teach you to shrink yourself. Over time, you become smaller, quieter, less sure of your light. This is not your fault, but it is your moment to awaken. Because the biggest sign someone secretly hates you is this: you feel unsafe being your full self around them. That is all the truth you'll ever need. You were right to feel it. Hate is not always cruel. Sometimes it's polite. Sometimes it smiles. Sometimes it hugs you while secretly hoping you fail. But you are not foolish for sensing it. You are not wrong for feeling it. Carl Jung reminded us that the parts of others we ignore, their darkness, their envy, their coldness, will eventually shape our story if we don't face them. You have faced them now. You've seen what was hidden. And that makes you powerful. You are allowed to walk away without an apology. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to choose love that feels like home, not survival. You are not too much. You are just too awake for their comfort. So take your heart, your light, your truth, and rise. Which sign felt like it was written for you? Let me know in the comments. Your story matters here. And if someone in your life is quietly suffering in a relationship like this, share this video. Help them see what they couldn't name before. Subscribe for more healing truths from Carl Jung's timeless wisdom. You are not alone, and you never have to be again.